All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's about 3 o'clock now, so we're going to start a meeting. This meeting is asynchronous, which means anybody can capture it at any time. It's a recording, and usually we have meetings for individual groups, like front-end modelers. Had a meeting on February the 14th. This one here is a generic meeting for everybody. And it's supposed to cover a broad topic from navigating the Discord channel to basic information like what do I do if I sign up but I'm not skilled enough to start working, and stuff like that. So we're gonna start with navigating the Discord server. So when anybody, this is how I recruit people. You will meet with me in a direct messaging, direct messaging system section, pretty much. That's where you and I will have a private discussion about your resume and so on. Once you're done, I will send you an agreement form, and I'm going to explain the agreement form later, but the agreement form itself explains itself. But I'm going to explain the basic of what it is for, um, just to, clarify a little bit of things. So when you join, you are shown in the welcome section here. And the first thing you want to check out, um, again, so you want to check out the announcement section if you want to get caught up on whatever we are doing. And from there, you can scroll down to the general chat and view the conversation we've been having, announcement, whatever. And from there, depending on which group you are, right, you have your tags. There are people on this side. Each member has a tag on them, and that put them in a specific group. And this section here describe which group the person is in, and so on. So I'm recording this time. I'm recording right now at night for some people. Again, not everybody is in the United States. Not everybody is using Eastern time zone. So some of you guys are probably sleeping right now, and it's okay. All right. So next thing, after you've identified your group and you have I'll probably have your tag assigned to you at that point. You can come here at the bottom here and look at the various group. If you're an artist, there'll be 3D chats and so on down here, and you can just click through these and just look at whatever we are working on. Again, we are making a game, and the website right now is a game website. It's gonna be it's pretty much an engine. It's a Web3 application we are building. These are my arts. I was inspired and I started making stuff. And yeah, anyways, it's particle effects stuff, um, and so on. So you can just click here, look at stuff. I think you'll get a lot of information just by clicking through this section, right? We have our races, models, everything in here. You will probably see some comments on previews and feedbacks and whatever once you click through this section. So for the most part, most of you guys will be 3D artists and or concept artists and stuff, and you might want to use the models, the 3D models, and so on to be able to conceptualize or like decide on how you're gonna draw your art and so on, generate your art. And so that's the part. That's why I really want you guys to go to this session as soon as possible. We're not going to linger anymore. I want this to be a short recording, and so we're just going to jump to knowing. Already talked about this, the agreement and expectation. So most of you guys, um, as for now, the hiring process is mostly you move from volunteer to an actual member of the LLC. Um, right now, we are in a stage of figuring out who's going to be a part of the actual company. I just want to be that make that clear a little bit. So the expectation agreement here is basically supposed to cover copyright infringement, uh, making sure that when you sign up to be a contributor to us, and you are making content for the game and for our services, we want to make sure that you are not copying any data from any third-party source that without permission, that you yourself are the one making the content. All of our tags are pretty easy. Like every work that you see in here is gonna be as easy as can possibly be, and that's is because we want you to succeed. We want you to be able to get on board and enjoy the process and actually become a member. Um, full-fledged member of the community, and we're trying to develop a culture where everybody is free and you can manage your own schedule and so on. So the agreement says that you cannot everything that you make has to be yours. You cannot copy stuff, you cannot download illegal stuff and use them to make content. And that's what we specify the resources for 3D modeling, stuff like Blender, and for 2D art we said Photoshop, and so on like that. So we want you guys to personally make your content because we want to be able to represent you in the future, and people can use us as reference, right? You can use us as reference, and we can speak on your behalf and say, oh, look, this person did this from this time to this time. And in order for us to do that, we have to be confident, we have to be able to trust you and to know that you did it, right? This is a virtual or remote system that we have, and we cannot be there in person to watch over you whatever. um, that doesn't even sound right. But we want to be able to trust you, right? So, in order for us to do that, we have to make sure that you understand that you are responsible for whatever steps you take to produce your content. And if in the future somebody comes to us and gives a copyright infringement strike or whatever, we're gonna hold you responsible for that, right? So that's what the agreement form is. And also we are also protecting our assets, in a sense that if you provide something for us, it becomes ours, and you have to contact me, or you have to contact whatever staff that is going to be put in that in place to manage that process. If you want to get your content out, you have to contact somebody from the company, and we are not uh, obligated to have you take your asset out of the game or out of our services. Whatever you produce, we are not obligated to give it back, right? It becomes ours. But and that's part of the agreement. We will uh, consider that, right? It's not like we're gonna be steadfast and grabby on whatever content you create. Some people might want to use some artwork in their portfolio, uh, want to show it off, and so on like that, right? So we are not gonna be strictly restricting everybody from reusing that content. Um, the content that they produce in when they want to share stuff with potential employers and so on and stuff like that. So based on the circumstance, we will allow you to use copies of the content that you created for us in and distribute copies of it to other parties. So that's part of the agreement, and that's that. So in addition to that, we also inform members that if you decide to work with us and you pick an asset and you want to if you want to produce something with the tax, right? If you pick a tax, we are holding you responsible for producing that tax. And again, the tasks are pretty easy. We are giving you 2 weeks of free time to do this, and additional 2 more weeks depending on if you want to continue working on it. And also, in addition to that, we are letting people know that at any time you can actually give back the tax, and actually withdraw from doing that tax, right? So in addition to all that time that we give you, you also have the right to resign from the task and so on, right? So because we are letting you do that, we are also informing you that um, if you pick a task and you decide not to do it, um, depending on the circumstance, you will be removed from that role and will not be considered for that role in the future. This is so that we have people who we can rely on uh, for, like, if we give you a task, we are expecting that in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, pretty much like a month worth of time, you are able to produce that stuff. But if you cannot produce it, then that reduces our trust in you, and we believe that the tasks are simple enough that anybody should be able to do it in the given time that we have. So if you cannot produce that, maybe you are not suited for that position, so we're going to withdraw the role from you and remove your tag and so on. So that's it. The freedom that we give is possible through the system that we adopted. That's the agile culture, and agile software development is basically a system that allow everybody to be able to manage their own schedule and have an asynchronous way to contribute to the software itself, the development process. And it is the best possible philosophy in my I believe personally. So, in my opinion, so that's that. Um, so I just explained how we are setting up our culture to be agile and to be as lean as possible. And so, who's eligible? Now we're going to talk about joining the company. I know the first thing people contact me about, ask me about is like, how can I join the company? How can I be a member of the company and so on. In order for you to be a member of Kwaza Games, you have to be able to fit within these expectations and be able to. We want to be able to trust you. And in order to gain trust from us, you have to be able to be proactive and contribute to the goal of the company itself, and that's how you become a member, because every member of the company has to be an active contributor towards the company's goals and so on. So in order for you to be a member, everybody is eligible. It is possible for anybody to become a member, and in order to increase your chance, as I was saying earlier, you have to contribute and you have to be persistent, so that we can trust you and so on. And likewise, those who are volunteering, if you've been inactive for a certain amount of time, we will remove your tags, and that's also stated in the that's going to be added to the agreement, but it is also indicated in the agreement about tasks and so on. I wanted to talk about this with you guys so that everybody is aware that there is going to be a change in the agreement. It's going to get edited, and the release version of the agreement form will be available on the Discord, in the Discord server, as also stated inside of the agreement terms and so on. So currently we have various groups, and each group meeting introduce a bunch of tasks that people can pick from. Um, so we have the front end developers, web development. We have front end 3D modeling group, and we have front end 2D artists, and so on. So when I say front end, I just mean like anything visual, anything that is going to be accessible by clients. That's front end pretty much. So right now we have tasks within these groups, and for example, here we still have 3D modeling tasks. Um, and as you guys do these tasks, we have a system that documents everything. So here we have selection by Valentin Yusufo, and Valentine was working on the barbarian weapons and so on. And this is the first preview that he presented, and then he presented the product itself for integration testing, and that was on the February 17th at 3:54 a.m. And it was a zip file. I integrated the assets into Unity, and we did a testing on it. We did some testing on it where we previewed the model from various perspectives, and there was an issue, right? There was an issue there, and the issue was mirroring modifier issue, where you could see actually you could see the internal part of the asset, and Valentine actually figured this out and he solved the problem, and he presented a second product preview as a zip on the 20th, and it was a zip file, etc. Right. So in addition to that, we have we have tags for the rogue class, where we need daggers for the rogue, and we have archer content to be made, and we have gauntlet and martial weapons and stuff that has to be made for the monk class, and fighter class might use some of the swords for the barbarian and so on. So that's pretty much how it is. You pick a task, we let you have it, we document that, we document that you have actually decided to take a task. We wait for you to finish the task. We follow along with you as you go through the various development cycle for producing a product, an asset for the for the services that we are making. And at the end, we mark that as done, and pretty much you gain a point towards becoming an actual member of the company. So as we do this, I want you guys to keep in mind that we have a deadline pretty much by April 30th to produce uh, a preview for Steam pretty much. And this is an example of what we're trying to make. We're trying to make um, a preview module stack pretty much. What a module is pretty much is an update or patch update that kind of includes a bunch of content for the game, and pretty much it's a patch. Pretty much it's an update or patch, whatever. So we want to be able to record a video of what we've added to the game. We also want to include images of various content inside of the game, images and of concept arts. Um, Part of the concept art, the purpose of the concept art pretty much is to explain how we are building the world and show various things that are going to be part of the world that we are building, right? So concept art looks like this. These are concept arts, and we are going to be displaying the various races. Um, this is part of. this sec where is 3D modeling group, artists. All right, so for 2D artists, right, we have some tags here. Um, Again, a lot of people are brand new right now. They just joined the server, so they don't have a full understanding of what's going on. So I'm going to explain this. You can find this information in the tag section below the in the community hub below general chat area. These are the tags here, and you can scroll down from the top and see the various tags there. So what we're trying to do right now for the classes is we are trying to identify the symbol for the class. If you if you've played a game before and with classes in it, you will know that each class usually have a symbol that represent a class, and that's what we're trying to do. These are examples. Um, these are not these images are not ours. So these are just example references that we're going to use to make our own copies of various icons and symbols for the game. So we are making a Dungeons and Dragons game. If you haven't played a game before, if you don't know what a game is, uh, we have media information here, YouTube, Twitch, and media references, where we post various media sources uh, for those who are interested in learning about game design. And basically I've been posting since I don't know when, like since 2019. Okay, so it's been a while. So all the resources that you need will be here. um, these are the various classes, and we want to have symbols for them. And in addition to that, we also need uh, images that represent the characters as well. So we can use some help with drawing art for I mean, yeah, basically the classes, bar class, barbarian class, and the classes have various races, right? There are other stuff like races in in the game as well. So you have like the shorter figures like halfling, dwarf, and whatever. And those are stuff that we need to make concept art for. Again, these are not ours art, so these are just references that you could use to make a human fighter, for example. You can use this. And again, there are the SRD. Please reference the SRD. The SRD is also in here. Uh, in the task section. I think I posted the SRD. All right, so if you need access to the modules, the model of the races, human, elf, half orc, and so on, you can go to this here and check out those models and game content, website, game board, and ad. All right, so if you want to access the SRD for the game, we are using the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and that's right below the community hub. You come down to game content, you will find a game book, art, and so on, everything that is relating to the game book, and basically uh, converting uh, the general information into actual game concept. You can find within the game content area, and that's that. As for web developers, again, I we are having a lot of people join the web development team. So, um, and these people pretty much You guys have a different level of skill set that we have to assess. So these are the questions that you might want to ask yourself or us. So like, what do I do if I'm here mainly to learn? This is a question for somebody who is interested in programming but doesn't know uh, where to start or doesn't have the skill to be able to contribute and so on. Generally, I will refer you to YouTube, to other resources. And if you were to ask, that's pretty much what I'm going to say. Um, However, depending on how specific your question is, I will give you a different type of resource depending on that. And if you want me to review your content, I can review it. I'm a software engineer and I have a deep understanding of JavaScript and C Sharp. And I've been working with them for coming up 9 years now. So if you need help, I can be a one-stop resource if you want. And again, this is not required, and so on. So that's all I want to cover. As for another thing, for 3D, for web developers, those of you guys who are skilled enough and are ready to start working on tasks, we do have meetings for uh, web developers, and that can also be accessed in the task section here below community hub. We have information for developers, and pretty much right now we are trying to make a Web3 software. So this is a technology that have never been explored. And so we are making something from scratch. We are making something that is not completely uh, realized visually. So um, so for some people this might be exciting, for some people this might be heartbreaking pretty much. But the technology that we are building right now is a Web3 technology, and it is a brand new technology. We are going to be working with, we are going to be building content that are uh, newly discovered. Pretty much, you will have to build this using your own creativity and pretty much your own engineering skills. And this, for some people it will help them grow, but for some people it's going to be a challenge, and a growth mindset versus a challenge mindset, where you feel like you are just going through difficult tasks, and instead of thinking about it as a means to grow your skill level, right? There are two different mindset right there. So again, everybody is not required to work on tasks that are presented as stated in the agreement form. And if at any point you feel like you are not going to be able to contribute, you can always let me know and we can remove you safely, and no harm, no foul, honestly. Um, Again, this is a voluntary position currently, so it's completely understandable, and we are not expecting the world from you, and we are not going to hold you we're not going to hold any grudge, any feeling, whatever. Like, just be honest with us, and just know that we are, whatever decision you make, we are very positive. We're going to respond very positively to it. And again, this is just an experience that everybody uh, can have together, and so on. I don't I don't know how else I can make that more simple and more relaxing and stress free as possible. Anyways, right now we are trying to work on the user interface, and if you go to it's basic right now. The entire user interface is basic right now, and we've been working. I've been working on the user authentication session where you get to be recognized by the system before you can enter into the decentralized system, whatever. We believe that in order for there to be a decentralized um, platform, there has to be a centralized interface or system to go through, and the rest of the matrix is going to be decentralized and connected through blockchain technology. And we are developing this technology from scratch and using our own design. I'm going to be the architect behind all of this, and it's going to take me a little bit of time to pretty much convert my understanding, my vision into actual communicable information for everybody to be able to understand. So um, for some time, it's gonna take a little bit of time for me to write documents down. Again, I'm managing a bunch of groups, so it might seem a bit slow, but don't give up on the wait. Uh, Eventually, I will get to your group for web developers. I will get to your group for 3D uh, developers. I will get to the group for 2D artists and so on. And eventually, we're going to get more reliable members, and we're going to get people who might take over the management part, and I will just have to explain stuff to them, and they will take it from there. Those are pretty much like CTO. Uh, Anyways, that's what we've been working on. We've been working on response, user response, and so on like that, right? If you haven't put in your email, there's gonna be an error with some information on it, debug log, and so on. That's what we've been working on, and this is React, and we've been working with Redux. These are technologies or skills that um, you probably don't have, or you do have. If you do, you can immediately start working with us, um, and that's cool. If you don't have that and you need help getting references and so on to various resources, you can always message me, or you can look it up on YouTube and so on. So we are working with Material UR, Mern Stack, React. Uh, There's a backend. You don't have to worry about it. These groups are mostly front end groups. So you'll be working mainly with React in a Node.js environment, and we're going to be making mock data. Um, for those who don't know what mock data is, it's a fake data that you use on the front end to test. So we're going to be doing some test driven development, TDD, and maybe a little bit of behavior driven development and so on. And we're gonna be learning about the various uh, principles. Anyways, we're gonna be learning a bunch of stuff. I want to make this really short. So this for some people will be a learning experience. Again, you are volunteering, but it doesn't mean that you are giving and not receiving, right? You will also be receiving information. You will be learning. It all depends on yourself and how much effort you want to put in to contribute. And likewise, we are also going to be flexible with removing people who are not active and are not proactive with the system, and that's the overall point of the meeting. We just want to inform everybody about that. So thanks for joining us with this meeting. We hope to see you guys in the Discord and to see some questions coming up from you guys in the future. Thank you. Bye bye.